Hello everyone. Hopefully you can see me and I sound okay and everything is going good. I thought that with this fun weekend of doing the Halloween theme that I would jump on. Actually, I should go get my, just one second. Okay, so it's telling me that my connection is weak. So it is possible that this is not coming through very well. Let's have a look. Oh, what happened there? Uh-oh. Here we go. All right. Can you guys let me know whether you can hear me okay? Is the video quality any good? Just leave a comment to let me know, because if it's not going very well, I might move over to Periscope. So what I was thinking of doing was showing how I can, how I created the glow effect with these pumpkins. And so I have, hi Julie, I have printed out, I resized, I did a little bit of editing with the fence because I just wanted to have the 3 posts. So I just cropped out a section of it so that I've just got the three posts in the background, and then I've just resized the pumpkins to fit in the foreground. So I'm going to start by coloring the background to begin with, and just going to imagine that the moon is up here somewhere. So I am going to just grab my wrong color. My B18. It's fuzzy. Yeah, I think my connection is really bad. No, you don't need new eyes. Let me just do one sec. I wonder if I can, here we go, if I do this. All right. Okay, so it would have just paused, I think, and I'm now on my mobile connection, so hopefully it's a little bit better now. Hi Laurie, hi Jessie. Okay, how's that looking now, guys? Okay, so let's get started, hey? So I'm gonna try and recreate this. So I've used the autumn wooden fence, as I was saying, and I just altered it because I just wanted the 3 posts. And I've used the Halloween pumpkin digi set, and I've used 2 of them, so that you actually get 5 of these little pumpkins, the little pumpkin faces in the set. And I've just put together 2 of them to create this little scene. And what I'm going to start doing is imagine that I've got like a moon up in the top here. I don't want it to be a full moon. Well, I don't want it to be like a I'm not taking over the image with the moon, but I'm going to start with my B18 and just sort of create my circle. I wonder if I've got something I can go around here. It's always easier if you've got something. Here we go. Scramble. I'm just going to use this as my template. Because why not? That'll do. Because the moon is circle. All right. So now I'm going to just do my scribble thing that I always do. And I'm using a B18 here. And I like to start with the background because it helps you to leave highlights whenever you color, when you come towards the front of the image. Okay, so that's essentially going to be like my glow around the moon. If I go out of frame, someone just sort of like pop up a message or something and hopefully it grabs my attention. I'm just going to jump to B69 and start darkening this area. Now I just want to get my horizon in before I lose track of what I'm doing. So again, just going to grab something to use as a reference. And I've got my fence sort of here, so I'm going to bring my horizon through here. That'll do. Okay, back with my B69, and I'm starting to build up the color. You see how I'm not actually drawing a line around anything? I kind of always keep it a bit of a scribble. And I feel like something's touching the table, and so I'm shaking it. There we go. Hopefully, all right. That annoys me. Hopefully they will no longer shake. Now I'm going to go straight over this butterfly because I don't see butterflies at night time, do you? I should have cropped that out before I printed it. Could have been a moth, I guess, but hey, that's all right. I'm cropping it anyway. So I'm just going to add this blue all down in here as well. Yep, it's not super juicy, it's just regular, but it's the way that I color because I'm scribbling rather than doing straight lines. But you don't want it to be dry, otherwise it will be difficult to work with. Okay, now I want to bring that to there and sort of trying to color fast as well. I probably would color a little bit slower around these areas if you weren't watching, but I don't want you sitting there all day. So I'm giving you the technique and not necessarily the perfection. B18. Okay, and over here, just going to bring that down. Like so. Okay, now I'm going to come back with that B18, and I just want to soften this bit because it'll just sort of glow into that. It'll soften the darker color and create like a haze in the scar. So that's done. Now the scary part, I'm going to come in with my C9, and over from here I'm going to come in over the top of this blue, start creating the night sky. So that B69 was like an underlay, and this is what helps to make your sky pop. So I've got my C9 scribbled on there. I'm going to come in with my C10, scribble some more. And it all looks scary at this point, but don't worry about that. I'm going to come in with my 110, just right on the edge here. Hey Ruby, gorgeous girl. My little Rubylicious. Coming back with my C9. Just want to darken up these a little bit more. A little bit. Be careful not to leave like a glow around areas that shouldn't be there type thing. It's hard to explain, like, but don't like leave a glow, like come, if you're going to go up to black, put black up to that edge. Yes, I guess so. Yep, I'm putting, well, but even here, I don't know, it depends on what the area is. I scribble everywhere, so even in here I'm just putting dabs of ink down, but I'm not drawing lines unless I'm flicking. It's hard to explain, I guess, but it's just always keeping it scribbled. It's like when you're painting those feature walls, that's what I liken it to. And you've got to have one person that does sort of like the same technique over and over again. It's a little bit like that. That's how you get that smooth finish. All right, coming back now with the B69, we start to remove some of the black. So, and it helps to blend it all in, softening that gray that we added, or that I added, that you'll be adding when you do this. And because it's a lighter shade, it helps to sort of smooth it all out. You probably can't see it on screen, but you'll see it afterwards. But like pushes that black back, and you get that smooth transition between the colors. And you get that night sky look. And if you want to have more information about doing the night skies like this, or even galaxy skies, my ebook on skies talks about doing this exact same thing in more detail with all the step-by-step photos and everything. So you can have a look at that if you haven't already, and that's available at the Make It Crafty website. So check that out. It's got all sorts of information on skies and backgrounds and all sorts of stuff. So it is worth the small investment, I think. I can be a little bit biased, of course. I wrote it, but hey. All right, so that's essentially going to be the look of the sky. And now I want to do the fence. And all I'm going to start with the fence is colouring it all one colour. I've got E33 here, and I'm just going to go all the way over it. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just colouring it that shade. Don't worry about the vines. Unless they're attached to the pumpkins, because they are not attached to the fence. And here. Trying so hard to colour fast. Do you know how hard that is for me? It's like goes against everything. Okay. So now we want to darken that fence. And so I'm going to bring in E44 and I'm going to come in, that's not dark enough. I'm going to come in straight with my W7. I know, I'm doing it. Alright, so I'm using the grey, the warm greys because it's a warm fence, warm coloured brown fence. So I'm coming in and I'm going to go straight over the top of all this, but I'm going to leave a glow around the edge. But you want to have your colour on the underneath as your tone before you go over it with the grey. Okay, now I'm going to go even darker. Did I bring my W9 over? No, I did not. There we go. Sorry, guys. Okay, W9, straight in, and let's make these little areas a bit darker, pushing them back. Come up the center a little bit. I'm being really rough here, guys, so please just kind of excuse the colouring side of things. Take in the information, not the details. Okay. Alright, now I'm just going to quickly do some green on these leaves. And on these. Now I'm not going to do this leaf here. It's going to be like glowing a little bit of a yellowy color when I finish. So I'm not going to have it green, whereas these other ones, which are going to be sort of highlighted by the moon, will have a little bit of their greenness on the edges. And green is a coolish color, so I'm going to use my grays. I'm going to come in with my C5 first and come in along the edge and start to darken them up, trying to leave a little bit of a glow in some areas. But I'm going to come back with a pencil at the end and give a lot of these sort of like a glowing edge to try and, because you lose a lot of this as you're coloring with markers. Unfortunately, it's just there's not enough room based on the level of detail here, so I'm not too stressed about it because you can save everything with a few pencils. I'll do that a bit later. That's going to be a little bit glowing. Okay, next I'm going to start working on the pumpkins, and all this will start to get darker as I add more color, because it's really hard to work out how dark you want things to be when you've still got this great big white area. So these are things that you can build upon. So this sort of gives me a foundation. I know sort of what I'm working towards, and then I can build up on that. So I'm going to start with EO7, I think, and just going to start bringing in some of the shading that I want. And I'm using browns, already browns, as my base. And then I'm going to make it glow by going right over the top of all of it. And you'll see how it comes together. And you'll be like, wow, that looks awesome. So yeah. You want to leave like an edge around the different segments so that they will pop. So I was looking at some photos of glowing pumpkins, and it seems that the top and the bottom is typically dark, and then the rest of it sort of glows. So I'm hoping to sort of achieve that. Because carving pumpkins is something that I have never done. It's not something that we do here in Australia, but it certainly, I was looking on Google, and there's some very creative people, the things that they do, which is pretty cool. Alright, so that is the foundation. I'm going to come in with my EO9, and I'm going to start darkening. I feel like this keeps popping. Here we go. It's annoying me that the paper keeps moving. Paint it blue. Hi, Ria. I think that's funny. Okay, now my favorite color to use to create depth when doing reds is E29. This is going to be my shadows, or just to help really make everything pop and stand out. And while I was here, I should say, take advantage of that 15% discount this weekend. You know, you can pick up some of even the dollar digis and use your discount code and have a chance to win a gift certificate. So I thought that would be a little bit of fun and an extra incentive to snap up any images that have been in your wish list. Now I'm going to come back with the E07 and just soften that brown. You see how I've sort of left a lot of sort of white area whilst I'm doing this to help create that glow when I put my orange wash over the top. Okay, now before I do the orange wash, I'm just going to do the inside glow, and I'm using Y38, and I'm going to put that up into the top sort of section, because I'm imagining that the candle is down the bottom here. So this section is going to be sort of glowing more of a warmer yellow. I'm going to come in with my Y06. Fill in the rest of those eyes and the nose, and maybe just into the corners here of the mouth. Finish just a little bit with the Y11, but make sure that you leave the white in the center, because otherwise you're going to lose that glow or the brightness. So I'm just adding a touch of the Y38 there. Now I'm going to use, where is it? R08, I think I want to use. Yep. I'm going to use R08 on these sort of areas that are cut. Being a little bit more careful here. Okay, now finally I'm going to come in with my YR04, and I'm going to go over everything and give it a wash, and you watch how it glows at the end. And you want to go over all of your brown and your red as well, because it's going to sort of like move it and give it a sort of like a mottled look, but it's going to be filled with that orange and make it look like it's glowing. You see how it now looks like he's glowing? And to finish that look, let's just do the other one so that you can watch me do it again. So starting with E09 this time, because I'm going to be braver, just going to quickly come up, the edge here. And the darker you actually go, the better that glow looks in this first stage. So let's just bring this around, make it dark at the top. I'm being so rough for me. Oh my gosh. Okay, E29, I'm just gonna come in, darken all these areas. Okay, so I'm just softening that brown, coming back with EO7 now, and this time I'm just going to fill in these areas a little bit more. This is a darker pumpkin. Okay, and I'm going to come in with those yellows now and give him the glow. So I've got the Y38 again, so I'm starting up into the top corners here. I haven't got much of space on this one, so I'm just going to be careful that I don't lose my white. That is the main thing that helps to make things glow. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going to do any more of the glow on the inside, but I'm going to come in with the, I think it was the EO8 that I used before. EO8 for those cut-in areas. You could use orange if I had it. That's what I would have used. That'll do. Okay, now with the YRO4, I'm going to go over that whole pumpkin again. And this is what makes it glow. So you start with your brownish red base, and then you go over, you do a wash over the whole lot with your orange. And you could use any orange. I've gone for a lighter one. You could even use the Y38 if you wanted to. And this is, by going over it, you sort of push the brown color away as well, creating a sort of a mottled look, but it looks like it's glowing. In this particular instance, you want that mottled look. Okay, so now we have the two pumpkins done. If you wanted to, you could come in with your EO9 and add some more depth to certain areas to really make it pop, but I'm not going to go there too much. Okay, now we want to do the ground. So using the same colors, I'm going to start with EO9 and just get a base down. And I'm doing all of my strokes horizontal to the plane of my horizontal line as best as I can, except around these little areas here. But that helps to keep your strokes all the same and make it, and if you've got like any sort of like where things haven't blended well, it just looks like it's part of the ground. And so you're not relying on having perfect blending. Okay, so now, tricky. With Y06, extended away from the actual pumpkin, I'm just gonna do like a backwards and forth of this glow here. And it's slightly away from the pumpkin, and because underneath the pumpkin will be shadow. And then I'm going to start with EO7. I'm going to come in and do some sort of horizontal flicks into that glow. Bring that all the way across. And then on the other side, we're going to bring some horizontal flicks in. Sort of like jagged. And then obviously, my glow is coming from here, so it's not going to be in here. So we need to come in and do like a zigzag, breaking it up a little bit, like so. We've got our foundation there now. Now we can build on that. I'm going to bring that under here. And again, I'm going to bring that under here. Like so. So we kind of got our glow happening, the reflection of the glow coming in now. We sort of know what we're working with. Coming in with the EO9, I'm going to start sort of building up on that. And on this side. Don't be afraid to add some color. We can always bring it back a little bit as we're building it up. Now I'm going to come in with my E29 and come straight under and start creating my shadows. Help bring in that depth. And on this side. And now I'm just going to add some some streaks here and there. So the ground isn't going to be all the same. Just being a bit random. Like so. Soften it out now with some, what have I got here? I want to put EO8 on. Hi Debbie, thank you. So I'm just gonna, using EO8 here over that brown, just softening some of these areas. And by keeping all of my strokes in the same direction, it doesn't look like I'm making a mess, you know what I mean? I'm just keeping all of the strokes the same, so it just looks like I'm creating all these different textures in the ground. I can't believe, well, Ruby, I'm telling you, I'm not looking at it going, oh wow, this is awesome. This is simply technique based only. I would never color this fast myself. Alright, coming in with the W7, I want this to be darker. This is meant to be a shadow. So, and as I was saying before, as you start adding color, you'll start really knowing where you need to add more color and more depth. When it's stark white, it's really hard to picture how dark you can go and how much contrast you can add. But it's adding those extra layers and coming back and adding the contrast, which is what makes your image pop. I'm going to come in with the Y38 and add a little bit of warmth to this yellow in some areas, just on the edges here. And then come in with my Y06 just to soften the center area a bit more. Now with this leaf here, I wanted to glow a little bit of the yellow, so that's why I was careful about how I colored it before. I want to come in with Y06 just on these edges here, like that. Come in with a little bit of the Y38. Bring in my green down in here. And then come in with my W5. Is that what I had? No. What did I? What? Using, oh no, I was using C5. Come in with my C5. Go over the green. And darken this area. Thank you so much, guys. It's nice of you to say. And then just soften this edge. Now, as scary as it might seem, this is when you take it to the whole next level. And you go really, really dark. So I'm going to come in with my W9 and I'm going to go over these leaves, really push them back further. And I'm just sort of dabbing this center because I'm going to come back with a colorless blender and soften some of these edges. And as I said earlier, with the pencil, you can do amazing things. So don't be afraid of your pencils. I'm gonna make this a little bit darker now that I've got some color happening around it. So you gotta remember, this is nighttime, so these things are not gonna be bright. They're gonna be dark. And as hard as it is for us to color this way, it is so much fun, and it's rewarding because it's not as hard as you think it is. You just have to will yourself into adding these grays over the top. And I know how hard that can be, but if you do it, it's just paper, you know, guys, it's just paper. And then you've done it and it looks awesome and you go, wow, I'm gonna do that again. So it's all experimenting. And look, my light source isn't perfect, but are you guys going to be judging me on that? I don't think so. You know, you're just going to be going, oh wow, the whole thing. You're looking at the whole thing. You're not looking at each individual thing that I'm doing. And I think that's what we tend to forget. We become so focused on what we're coloring and what we vision that we forget that other people didn't see it from the start like what we did, you know. You're looking at the end result. You're not looking at what I imagined in my head. So yeah, just remember that. Or I try to remember that when I become too fussy. Which I can do. We all can do it. I need to get my, it's here. Okay, so I wanted to soften that gray that I did. So I'm going around the edge with my white marker, or my blender, and just softening some of these little areas. This just doesn't have to be done. I really don't have enough ink in here to do what I'm doing. But I really wanted to soften around the fence so that it actually, what a pain. No, that is so dry, it's not doing a thing. I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to use my E00. That'll do. I just wanted to soften this a little bit around the edge of the fence because you kind of get like a glow then, rather than just the line of where I've coloured the grey. Alright, now to finish, I'm going to come in with some pencil. Now, if I was doing this because, what color did I want? I like this one. If I would probably have spent a bit more time if I was trying to do, like my last image, I spent about 4 hours on it. But that was kind of because I was changing my idea as well. But yeah. The thing I like about using pencil when you're doing stuff like this is that because it is wax based, it sort of sits on top of the surface and you get more of a transparency glow effect from the pencil, and it works really well when you're just going along the edges of like these vines and the leaves and stuff to get more of a glow. See how now those edges look like they're glowing? Because the pencil is sitting on the surface and sort of is a bit of a translucent effect over the grey, which works in this particular instance. So sometimes things that you don't want in when you're doing other things work really well for something else. So it's time for me to do the moon, is it, Jen? All right. So all I did was I used like a C3, I think. Oh. I just don't have any ink in either of my colourless blenders. Oh no, I'm doing this one. Yay! I've got some in that one. Okay. Alright, so with the moon, I'm going to copy my other one. I used a reference image because the moon sort of has all these craters and stuff in it. I just did sort of like a lot of dabbing around the edge. And I'll leave the white border so that it glows. I know. How cool is that little bit of pencil just on the top edges of these little green things? Make it look, well, green things, you know, leaves and stuff. Really, and you could do the same with a white pencil around, and I might do that. I'll grab that. But let's just do the moon for those of people that are impatient. Jen. Not naming anyone. But yeah, so just sort of bring some blotches and use a reference picture. If you don't know something, don't be afraid to go and check out some images on Google, because that has saved me so many times. Okay, so I'm going to come back in with my C2 and just soften these areas. I don't want to lose too much of my white. Obviously you're not going to see the top part of the moon when I cut it off, but hey, it's there now. Blender, soften, and see how quickly that now looks like the moon. Ta-da! You could just add a little bit more depth in some of the areas if you wanted to. But see that? Doesn't that look cool? Alright, let's just do a little bit of the white on that fence, so you can see that pop even more. So we'll come in and just add a little bit of a white glow where the moon will be hitting the top of that fence. There you go. Yay! So there is some glowing pumpkins with a moonlit background. And to finish it off, just get some. Now you want to be erratic. You don't want to be too, and you don't want to have too many either. So a couple of bigger stars, and then do some little tiny dots. And try not to put your hand over it. And when that dries, we'll have the pretty little stars in the background. Yay! So I'll chop it out and pop a photo up for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. And so don't forget that if you wanted to grab these, this is called, I think I've put it in the description, but I'll put some links somewhere. I don't know whether I can put links anywhere, but it's the autumn wooden fence, and that I modified, so it's been modded. So I cropped part of the fence, and the Halloween pumpkin digiset, and you get 5 of these fun little pumpkins in the set, and you can do something exactly like this. Thanks everyone. Thanks Sally. Thank you everyone, and I will see you all later. I'll post something soon. Bye guys, take care.